Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss our memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jeff.
All right. So, yeah, we're going to be closing the yearbook tonight, too. Got to remember that.
This is true.
Some business here. We're closing out 2015. But before we get into our topic, as of the day we're recording this, there was an event that has touched Gifford, and he wants to talk about it.
Yeah, so this will come out a couple weeks from now, but in real world time, I was driving home from work, and a good friend of mine, Meg, texted me with the horrible news that we have lost James Van Der Beek.
Yeah, they just keep coming.
So Meg and I, we watched Dawson's Creek back in college. And then Courtney and I continued watching it after college. He'll always be Johnny Moxon to me from Varsity Blues. And, of course, we have an episode on Varsity Blues way back in the day, maybe second season, or was that even?
Second season, that is correct.
Second season, yeah. And then he had another show, Don't Trust the Bee, in Apartment 23, where he basically played himself.
That's right. I watched that show, actually, with Kristen Ritter. It was pretty good. I forgot about him because he had it was a fun role that he had on that show.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like the episodes, where you got LeBlanc playing basically himself.
Boy, I totally forgot about that. Nice call.
He was good in that. And then there's also one season of a show called Friends with Better Lives with Conley, the guy from Entourage, and Brooklyn Decker was in it, and Zoe Lester Jones, who was in
that one. I'm not familiar with.
It was
from
13
Life in
episodes.
Pieces.
Yeah, she was in Life in Pieces. I didn't know her at that point, but when I started watching Life in Pieces, like, oh yeah, she was on that show with Van Der Beek. So, just real tough news. Lost his battle with colorectal cancer today. So I just wanted to bring it up. Don't know how to honor the guy other than just shouting him out here on the podcast, and just really enjoyed a lot of his work.
Well, and those are some good ones, but we also have to mention, for me, his performance in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yes.
It's called The Pie Fucker. That was another fantastic role because he's playing himself.
Yep.
And
with Jason Biggs.
That movie is, or no, right. He's not, that's right. Jason Biggs is that, but
yep.
That movie is so funny. I just love it. And that was one of the reasons, is because of the cameos and the way they played themselves. They're great.
Well, yeah, you obviously see he's got a good sense of humor, and just, it's a quick little, like you say, a quick little cameo, but he's in the movie, essentially making fun of himself. So that was great. And so you will be missed, Mr. Van Der Beek. Just wanted to give you a shout out.
Yeah, it was a shocker. Did you know that he was sick and that this could happen? Because, I was like, what the heck? He's too young for that.
I didn't. I was talking to my boss after work today, and she had said something. She knew about it, and that he was ill, and heard that he was getting better. And so when I told her, it was news to her too. So she was pretty tough shape because she was a big fan of Dawson's Creek as well.
Yeah, and I thought Catherine O'Hara was young, and then this happens. That's
right.
It's too much going on here.
It is. So sorry to start off on a sad note, but we're going to pick it back up here with our final subject for 2015. We are going to be talking about a wonderful television sitcom, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So we're going to be covering that tonight.
And I just got to say right off the bat that this show, so I watched the whole thing when it was on, but I haven't ever really rewatched it, and I've been watching it now again. I knew how good it was. Like, I loved it when it was on, but this show is up there. This is up there with some of the best casts, and when you talk about who created it and everything, it makes sense. But if this one kind of went under the radar to people, and you like funny shows, you got to give this one a try.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I didn't watch it when it was on, so it had its first 5 seasons on Fox, and then got canceled.
Oh, yeah, it switched, didn't it?
And then because of a huge public outcry, NBC grabbed it for another 3 seasons.
Wow, I totally forgot about that little fact, too.
So it started September 17th of 2013 and ended 9/16 of 21, which, obviously tough time with COVID, and they touched on some of that stuff at the end. And then, of course, we had, a lot of stuff with more police brutality and George Floyd and everything. But yes, it did get picked up after being canceled, and NBC was actually one of the places that it was pitched first because, as Brad said, our creators, they had done work with NBC before,
Yes.
and they actually ended up passing on it, and Fox jumped on it.
So you did not watch it.
Mm.
Have you watched the whole series?
I don't think I've watched the whole series. I watched it a few years ago, probably got through about season 5, and then moved on to something else that we were working on for the show and didn't go back to it. So I have not
Yeah.
watched it all the way through. This time around, I started watching last week, and as I told Brad beforehand, got through episode 8 of season 2, and then
So that's like 32 episodes already that he's watched.
right. Well, and they're quick though. I mean, it's a 22-minute show.
Yeah,
with
but I
some
mean, you're
commercials
watching on Peacock, I assume?
Yeah, I'm watching
You
on
got the
Peacock
damn
with
commercials, so it
I
doesn't
know.
go as quick as it could.
Correct. That's true.
Hate that.
But yeah, I mean, it's just such a wonderful, funny, no laugh track, which is great. Single camera, so there's all the quick little cuts. Yeah, fun show. Glad we're including it here.
So I did watch it from the beginning, and I was a big fan of Andy Samberg, partially because I've been influenced by our friend Dave, who was on the show, who just loves him more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of those where I feel like I just was kind of saying, it might have gone under the radar. It feels to me, and maybe that's just me in my head, but like one of the last great sitcoms of its kind, like a dying, like, everything on streaming now. I mean, this is a full network 2 to 24 season episode seasons. And I just don't feel like there's that many of those anymore. And certainly not ones that are hugely popular. I mean, there's some out there, obviously.
Well, that's because there's so much stuff to watch that
Right.
for one thing to really grab hold of everybody is tough.
So I was a little worried, actually, that this would not be very good when I heard about it, because as much as I love Andy Samberg playing a cop, and this is kind of a traditional type of sitcom, like you said, it doesn't have a laugh track, but it's still, straight up sitcom. I was afraid that maybe it'd be too traditional and I would find it lame or it wouldn't work. But that's not the case, because the casting, the writing, and the characters on this show are up there with anything. It's hilarious. And I think it can be discussed with all the great sitcoms. And that is partially because it is created by Michael Schur, who created The Office, Parks and Rec, The Good Place. And recently I watched the Ted Danson show on Netflix, A Man on the Inside, which is awesome. But The Office, Parks and Rec, I mean, those are two of the greatest sitcoms ever. A lot of people would also say The Good Place is. I don't like it as much as that, but a lot of people love it.
I would put it a step definitely below those two, but it was still good.
But I would put this, my favorite's Parks and Rec. I would say beginning to end, I probably like this as much as The Office. The Office to me just kind of died out. And I know how good it was at first, but I look back on it.
When Michael left.
I know. I have less positive feelings about it now, even though it's probably, I really, really loved it. But this is one that it got canceled, but it was great all the way through. And the cast is just awesome. So,
yeah. And you also, another writer producer on this, Dan Gore, was also an executive producer with Schur on Parks and Rec as well.
Yes.
So,
and a little fun fact that I wasn't aware of until this is it. So Michael Schur, who did all these shows, he played Mose on The Office.
Really?
Yeah. The what's his name? Cousin, brother, not brother, right? But out on the farm, Mose.
Yep. Mose.
Dwight's cousin, right? There you go.
Yep.
So that was Michael Schur playing that role, which I never knew until a couple days ago.
I did not see that. That's an excellent little tidbit. This show, as Brad said, was good the whole way through, and was also nominated and won some awards. So it did win 2 Emmys over its time, both for stunt coordination.
Really?
And then was nominated 11 times, and 4 times was for Andre Braugher for supporting actor.
I was going to say, Andre Braugher should have won the Emmy pretty much every year he was on this show. And we're going to talk about him a lot, and that's the inspiration for our draft tonight, because this guy, wow.
Yeah, stole every scene, absolutely. It was also it also had 2 Golden Globe wins its very first year. It won for Best Comedy Series, and Sandberg also won for Best Actor.
I actually remember that the first
Mhm.
year that it won because it kind of surprised me. But I was watching the Golden Globes that night and thought, "Hey, great!"
Yeah, so definitely not only enjoyed by fans but critics alike.
Did you have any other fun facts or background before we go through this amazing cast?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
So Peretti, who plays the role of Gina,
Chelsea Peretti.
she auditioned for the role of Diaz, and when she did not get it, they created the role of Gina for her. So
Yeah.
in this show, um, Gina and Jake grew up together, and in real life, Sandberg and Peretti also went to the same elementary school. So
Ah,
life imitating art there.
and
Um,
she's a good stand-up woman
mhm,
comedian too. And we talked about 2 weeks ago on our draft. So she's one I
yep.
don't think we mentioned that night, but she could throw her in there as well.
I would have been interested to see her as Rosa. Like that, it could,
Yeah, no, I think they're cast the right way for sure.
right? I mean, because she is, as Gina, is so off the wall sideways and just
Well, and
seems
it's
like that
just
fits
so
her.
she doesn't do anything seriously, but it's just the
No,
driest, most just mundane humor that you can't even tell what she's talking about half the time, and she
right.
is, like you said, sideways. She's way out there.
She's way out there. Stephanie Beatriz, who plays the role of Rosa, she lowers her voice for this role. Normally, her voice is much more high pitched. So when she's
Yes.
undercover or she's doing a different voice in the show, that's actually her real voice. And I mean, she has a deep, deep voice in this.
Yeah, and she is playing, I mean, she never changes her tone. Like, she
No.
is just the most. She hates
Hmm.
people, she hates
Yeah.
anything, and that's the way she
Hmm.
acts. But I'm glad you brought that up because she is in the Man on the Inside show with Ted Danson.
Oh, she is.
And the
Okay.
first time she came on the screen on that show, she talked, and I'm like, wow, that is her role is, she's so much more nice, and
Yeah.
like, she talks higher, and she has nothing like the role on this show. And it's jarring when that's kind of the only thing you know her from.
As John Lovitz would say, acting. She's very, very talented actress. The action figure that you see in the beginning credits that Jake is holding, that
John
is
McClane, I bet.
no,
Oh,
it is an
really? Because he.
action figure from Police Academy. I believe it was there was a Police Academy show, but it's
Oh,
the Mahoney action figure.
Mahoney, but he loves John McClane, and
He
that's
loves,
some of the best jokes in the show because, of
yes.
course, we love Die Hard, and so it's great.
Hmm. Um, the role of Terry was written for Cruise specifically.
And he's
Um,
awesome.
and we'll talk about him when we get to our cast. The way they would shoot the scenes, they would shoot it a few times as scripted, and then they would shoot more scenes just improvised to see if they could improve upon the jokes that were told. Um, when we came in tonight, I said Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Um, Terry Crews would do that on set to get everybody up and running and excited for the upcoming scene, and that was incorporated into the show as well. And the last one I have here, the title of your sex tape joke
Oh, yes, we're gonna get to that.
is something that the cast did to each other while shooting, and it made its way into the show as well. So,
So that will come up in one of the episodes
yes.
tonight. So we'll save it for that. But it's basically like a newer and I think better version of That's What She Said, because you've heard it so
Yeah.
many times.
Hmm.
And it works so much more often than you might think. It's a great
Yeah.
line.
Yes, it is. It is. So do you want to get into the cast then?
Yes. So we know
Okay.
we center this whole on Andy Samberg, who's, coming off SNL, and he's got movies, and he's a pretty big star. He's Detective Jake Peralta.
Mhm.
And he's your he's your cool detective who does things his own way and he jokes all the time, doesn't take anything seriously, but is very, very successful and really good at his job too. He's cocky and he's kind of got a little of the John McClane in him.
Yeah.
So, and you might not think he'd be very good at playing that kind of a role or like as a cop, just based on other stuff he's done, but he's great. And
Well, and
I
the
love
way
it.
he plays it with such unauthorized bravado and thinks he knows everything, and
And he does
and
screw up a lot too. Like he'll
he
say a lot of
screws
dumb
up
stuff.
constantly, and he doesn't know what the hell is going on in a lot of situations, and his personal life is just a complete and utter mess. But that's one of the things I love about this show is that he gets wins. Like,
Yes.
things do work. He is smart as a
So I'm gonna say
detective,
things
right?
usually work out though in the end.
Yeah, and because of that, he is just always thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and more often than not, it blows back in his face, which is absolutely hilarious.
So you already mentioned, we kind of already talked about Stephanie Beatriz. She's Rosa Diaz. She's like the next best detective in the crew, or well, one. There's like 4 good detectives.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like you said, her role here is much different than if you've seen her in other things. But she is your by the book, doesn't want to have anything to do with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Just dry, monotone, and always serious. But just like with all these Michael Schur shows, with all the comedy, there's always heart, and all
Right.
these characters, they will all grow, and you see different sides. Even though she's like that 90% of the time, there's other parts that show up too, and that's what makes them so great.
She's a very hard onion to peel. She doesn't
That's a
want
good way to
anybody
put
to
it.
know anything about her at work. Like, she has a personal life and she has a professional life, and you aren't allowed in her personal life. So she is just great and, um, extremely serious. So, like, her and Captain Holt, I mean, she's not as robotic, but kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit. Like, it's business
No
first all the
nonsense.
time. Yes. Yep.
Then our third detective is Melissa Fumero, who's kind of
Mhm.
like, well, I mean, I guess several of these people were kind of new maybe no, most of them I had seen and stuff, but she's kind of maybe the more unknown one.
Mhm. Yeah.
Her big thing before this, I think, I can't remember which one it was, but a soap opera.
Oh.
And I don't know a lot of other stuff she's done, but she plays Amy Santiago, and she's awesome. And she's your true by the book detective. She's the rule follower,
Mhm.
and everything is done the right way. And she's a little bit tight, but she will loosen up, and she has fun too. And of course, and Jake rubs off on her. And if you watch the show, there does like these are the two that have the ongoing will they or won't they type of thing
Mhm.
that you always have to have as well.
She is the exact opposite of Jake.
Exact opposite.
Yes, because he doesn't care what, the captain thinks, and she is constantly her whole life revolves around gaining the approval of her superiors. She, like Brad said, she is absolutely by the book. This is the way things are done. He is completely opposite. She will volunteer for everything,
Oh, she's the
and
teacher's pet. Yes,
yes, yep.
she's the kid in school that you probably hated.
Right. Yep, but and Jake's the app, and they're always, and that's the beauty of it. They're paired up a lot on these cases, so you see that yin and yang.
And then our fourth detective, well, there's a couple others, but the fourth good detective is Joe Latruglio,
Mm-hmm.
Charles Boyle, and he's in lots of stuff that you'd recognize. He's always funny. For me, he's the guy, and I Love You, Man, that goes on one of
Mm-hmm.
the mandates with, well, not Andy Samberg, with Jason Segel, and he's at the soccer game, and he's yelling in the high-pitched tone all the
Yep.
time. That's where I kind of first knew him, and then I realized he's part of this whole comedy troupe that they pop up all over the place.
Yep.
But his defining characteristic is he's a good detective, but he is basically in love with Jake and thinks he's the greatest person in the world, and not in a sexual way, but just
Yep.
sucks up to him and pleases him and just does whatever he can because he's just in awe of Jake. He's like his hero.
Yeah. He is the puppy of the show. Whether he's obsessed early on with Rosa, whether he's just following Jake around constantly. He is definitely a follower. He's easily bendable into any
Oh, yes.
situation that you tell him to do. Um, Yeah, he doesn't really have a code that he lives by, just whichever way the wind's blowing, and, if somebody gives him a suggestion, he's down for it, but, yeah, he is definitely sees himself as Jake's absolute best friend, and I think they probably are, right? Like,
Yeah, no,
they're
Jake. I
pretty
mean, and he
tight.
loves the way he looks up to him. But Jake,
Yeah,
he'll do whatever for Charles. He
mhm,
loves
for
him
sure.
too.
Yep,
Um, there's a couple other great characters, but we'll mention the other two detectives. I didn't
mhm,
write their names down, but Hitchcock and Scully, a couple of
yep.
guys, they pop up in things. I don't know who they are for sure, but I recognize them. But these are the two most bumbling, stupid, idiotic detectives ever. They can do nothing right.
Career
They
guys
all they
that
do is spend their time in the bathroom or eating donuts or food, and
mhm.
they're pathetic, but they add a little more comic relief to the
Well,
show.
and what I love is you've got Hitchcock, who is, very, very bald on top, but there's always a comb in his pocket. So, I mean, and then Scully
Well, and he's
is
got a crew cut.
yes, and he is possibly the stupidest person on the show, I would say. Yeah, and he's the one who will be eating constantly. These guys are not looking to, get in the mix, close a lot of cases. They're literally just showing up, like Brad said, to eat donuts and just kind of hang out and, you know, earn their their paycheck, and that's about it.
All right, then we have Terry Crews, who you mentioned, who
Mm,
plays Terry. He's a sergeant. He's a great character too,
yeah.
because Terry Crews, as most people probably know, he's hosted America's Got Talent forever. He's this giant
Mhm.
bodybuilder guy, but in this show, he is basically just a big soft teddy bear. He'll yell and get mad, but he's not mean. He doesn't shoot guns because he had an incident,
Yep.
kind of like Reginald Vell Johnson in Die Hard. He talks about himself in the third person, which is
When he gets
always
excited.
funny.
Yep.
But and I don't love him on America's Got Talent. I find him quite annoying as the host sometimes. And I don't know. I've seen him in other stuff. I don't know that I love him on
Mhm.
most things, but he is great on this show. His character is fantastic.
I really like Terry Crews. I in this particularly, the other big thing I saw him in was Idiocracy, where he's the
Oh
president
yeah, yeah,
Camacho.
that's right.
Um, I think I just love him because I mean he's obviously keeps himself in immaculate shape. I mean, first off, you got to tip your hat. This guy does some work, and then he plays this huge teddy bear. He's got twin baby girls.
Cagney and Lacey.
Cagney and Lacey. And I just love the big, huge dude that plays the teddy bear, and
Right,
he
I love
does
it.
this so great. Um, Mind you, he was the 281st overall pick in the 11th round of the 1991 draft.
Oh
Um,
yes, I did know that.
he played defensive end and linebacker. Total of 32 NFL games with 3 tackles and 1 assist.
Who did he play
Um,
for? Do you have that?
yes, he was drafted 91 by the LA Rams. Then in 93 went to the Packers, but was just on practice squad. Uh, Traded to the Chargers. In 93, 95, he played, he was on the Redskins and the Eagles in 96.
So that's a
So
while then.
has a sporting background, and he's just absolutely great. And then, of course, he has, a lot of followers and supporters. He's talked about, abuse in the family, grew up with a very abusive father, and is, in the community and trying to bring light to all of that. And
Yeah, he's a good
so
guy.
he's seems like a pretty solid dude off stage as well. So I like Terry Crews. I think he's just hilarious. He dances, which is awesome too. There's just so much great stuff about him. I think he's awesome.
All right, you mentioned Chelsea Peretti. We've already
Yep.
talked about her. She plays Holt's assistant, and she's just this crazy, funny person who seems to be horrible at her job, but she's there to help out when she can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but then we get to Andre Brower, who's known for what? Law and Order? Is that
Yep.
which of the shows was he on that are all like that? Law and Order,
Homicide, Life on the
Homicide. That's right.
Street.
So he's like, it reminds me of Leslie Nielsen going to the Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Your
Good
dramatic
call.
actor who goes on to this show, and plus they play a similar like he's not being funny. It's just this dry delivery of everything. I find this to seriously be one of the best characters in sitcom history. And if you've never watched the show, he alone is worth it, especially if you know him from other stuff where he's always dramatic. He's perfect. He's just perfect. Everything he says is funny. He has, we'll get into one of the episodes here. He has this rivalry with the commissioner played by Kira Sedgwick, and he calls her a witch all the time. And the lines that he uses are just, they're just gold. And he's so straight-laced, and you can't crack him at all at first. But again, and he's like that all the time. But you also find out, all these other parts, and you find out in the first episode that he's also been an openly gay cop for 30 years. And so he's always been overcoming things like that, which is part of why he acts the way he does. It's just a fabulous character. The whole backstory, everything about him is just, God, he's great. I just love that. And he died a year or two ago? It was pretty sad when he died.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. He is dry beyond dry, I think is the way to describe it. He is just, Jake, refers to him early on, just robotic,
Yes.
You can't read him. You don't know if he's in a good mood, in a bad mood. His facial expression is always the same. But yes, he's a very, very serious man. And like Brad said, like he's not going to step out of line even a titch because he's got a command of a precinct and he doesn't want to get demoted. And he knows that he can because, he's black and he's openly gay and he doesn't want to do anything that will take away standing for him.
And that does tie into what we'll talk about here in a minute too, because one of the episodes, he actually gets promoted, but it's not at all. It's not good.
Right. And this show also was looked upon by many in the LGBTQ plus community because, he's, playing openly gay characters. So there's a lot of things that they talk about there later on.
He does have a husband that you meet, and we've seen him in things before too.
Later on, Rosa comes out as bi in later seasons, so talk about a lot of that too. So they were bringing that in to the show and bringing it into light.
But yeah, and it never distracts or it's never in your face for people that there people always complain about everything. It's just so naturally put into the show. It's like it's not a big deal in any way. And that's, again, the brilliance of the writing and the creators.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So then we have, this is a show. So like when we did How I Met Your Mother, I listed off a bevy of guest stars who were all on multiple episodes. This is another show. So everybody I wrote down was on, I think, at least 3 episodes, most of them like 5, like recurring characters. So here are some of the people that have made appearances, memorable and return appearances on the show. So Kira Sedgwick, I mentioned, she plays the police commissioner. Jason Mantzoukas, who I always love in everything. Craig Robinson from The Office. Mary Lou Henner, LA Story, we love her. And of course other stuff, but of course LA Story for me. Ken Marino, always funny. John C. McGinley from Scrubs. Old standby MVP Tim Meadows. Eva Longoria, Bradley Whitford. Gina Gershon, Fred Armisen, Stephen Root, Vanessa Bayer, and Matt Walsh. And that's just, they were all on a minimum of, I think, 3 episodes. And then one of them that I was watching had somebody I didn't even write down because, well, Bill Hader we're going to talk about because he's only on 1 episode. But so there's, you could extend that list for a long ways, but I kept it to like the recurring characters, and that's a pretty good list as is.
Well, and Mark Evan Jackson plays Holt's partner.
Oh, yeah. What is he on? I'm forgetting now.
His life partner. He was, for me, I recognize him from The Good Place.
Oh, yeah. He's on The Good Place.
Yeah, he's kind of Michael. Is it Michael? Yeah. Ted Danson's character. It's kind of his boss in Hell or whatever. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. But
I think he might have been on The Man on the Inside too. He's been in different things.
He has been. Yep. And then a guy that I really like, and he's been in a few different, he was in John Wick. He's in 9 episodes of this show. You guys know him from Allstate commercials.
Yes, and we'll talk about him too.
And we see him in one of our episodes tonight. Dean Winters.
So that's his name. But he's the Allstate guy, Mayhem.
Yep. And I love that whole campaign. I think is great. But he's always played a prick.
And he's playing a prick on this show just like he does in the commercials.
I don't think I've ever seen him in anything where he's not a prick. And he plays it so
well.
perfectly
yeah.
that I just really enjoy him. His delivery is great. So yeah, definitely a good one to have in here.
All right. Anybody else?
No, I think you kind of nailed, a lot of the really good cameos and people that have had recurring characters throughout. So, no, I think we can jump in. So, of course, we're doing 2015 this month. So, season 2 into 3 is what it was covered in 2015. So tonight we are going to cover the last episode of season 2 and the first episode of season 3.
And before we get into the season finale, I do want to mention, so I watched the one before, which obviously you did too. But the second to the last...
think I did.
Oh, you're not the...
Yeah, I got to 8 in season 2 and then skipped ahead to the last.
So the second to the last one, it kind of goes together. It's called The Chopper. And it's Jake and Holt. They're trying to solve this big case. And this is one, you'll love it, because the Die Hard references are just off the hook on this one. And they get a helicopter, and the whole thing is about Holt thinking that Wunsch, Kira Sedgwick, the commissioner, is setting him up to fail, because she always does, and she wants to get him. And they end up really bonding, because Holt starts to play along with the Die Hard stuff, and they've got code names and everything. Mm-hmm. And they solve this case, but what it does instead is it gives Wunsch a reason to promote him to a job that he's going to hate, which takes him out of the 9-9. Mm-hmm. And so that's what sets up the episode that we're going to talk about right now.
So just clarification, I think she's deputy commissioner. I don't think she's the boss. Because we'll see that in the...
She's above him anyway, clearly.
Correct. She is above him, but she also has a boss. I think the commissioner's above her, and that kind of plays into the second episode we'll talk about tonight, too. So, yeah, that was the thing. I probably should have taken some time to watch that one, because...
you're going to love it when you get there.
In this episode, you come to find out that he's leaving, and I didn't know why he was being... I knew why he was being promoted, just to fuck with him. Wunsch was just screwing with him, trying to get him out of the one spot he really loves. But I didn't know what had happened for him to get promoted.
Which, and of course, it kills, because they've all grown. This is season 2 ending now. So they've all grown to love him, even though he's the way he is. And so it just kills everybody at the precinct as well, that he's going to get taken away. Mm-hmm. So the season finale is episode 23 of season 2. It's called Johnny and Dora. And one of the great things about this show is the traditional sitcom thing, kind of like Seinfeld and many shows. It starts with like its own little separate scene. They always have their little scene at the beginning that's really nothing to do with the show, just a joke. And I love that, because that's what a lot of sitcoms you grew up watching did. And so on this one, there's a guy coming to take away their vending machine, and it's, I think, Hitchcock that is throwing a fit, because it's like his love is the vending machine. But they all love the vending machine, so they stop the guy, and they do like a salute to it, and they say goodbye to it. And then when he finally is able to leave, he drops the thing on the floor, and it cracks open, and they all run and take the candy. So,
right. Yeah, and I like how Terry here goes, and they still have the bag of carrots that we asked them to put in there. They're black now, but they're still in there. Yeah, good little starter here.
So besides Holt being promoted and having his problems with his boss, this is an episode where Jake and Amy, the whole romance thing is starting up, because he has kind of been hitting on her, or hinting at that, and she says she will not date cops. Right. And so that's where they're at. But then, of course, they get put into an undercover operation together, and they end up having to act like they're together.
Yep.
And they even end up kissing to not blow their cover twice. Yep. And so it leads to more of those feelings coming out. So that's the other kind of story that's going on there as well.
Yes. And then you also have another little side bit with Terry and Gina. they need to find some incriminating
Oh, yeah.
evidence on
Because they're going to
Wunsch.
stop the promotion from happening by
Right.
getting this letter Wunsch wrote. And he can't get
About
in,
the
and he just
commissioner.
picks up an entire file cabinet and just carries it
Yes.
out one-handed because he's huge.
Under his arm. I just love how he's pulling on the thing. He's trying to pry it open. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to rip this thing apart. And instead just casually picks it up and walks out the door with it. It's just awesome.
So we can kind of run through our favorite lines of this one, I think, and go through the plot of it as we go here. But they're talking about Wunsch and how she can't be defeated. And Holt is like, she can be defeated. She is not a whatever bad succubus. She's a regular succubus. And she can be defeated.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And I like when they meet up towards the end in the interrogation room, and he goes, do you want to take some weight off your cloven hooves?
Your cloven hooves. But before that, they bring the evidence that they get to him, and he's like, now go get me Madeline and a bucket of water.
And a bucket of water.
It's time to melt a witch.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he also tells her not to count your gross fish babies before they're hatched.
Yes.
And there's another one. They're watching through the double mirror, and then they kind of blow their cover. And he's like, of course there's an audience. Who wouldn't want to watch a man fight a crocodile?
Yes. Yep. That's
every line he says is classic. And when he's fighting with her, they're even better.
Well, and there's no inflection in his voice. No. It's just a
straight
monotone delivery, and there's no smile. You don't see any joy from his face from saying these lines. It's just such a flat way to say it. It's just wonderful. And the other thing I like is, so she always frisks him.
Yeah, and I don't really know. There's no real explanation of what's going on there because she's really getting into him, and he just stands there. Yep. And it's very awkward.
She wants to make sure he's not wearing a wire. She's always very unsure of what his motives are, and she doesn't want to get caught saying something that
she's feeling him up like she's hot for him.
Well, and in earlier episodes, when she starts coming into the show, it's revealed that early on they were like partners in a precinct. They were really good friends, and what Holt thought turned her against him was that she came on to him, didn't know he was gay, and he had to rebuff her advances.
Oh, so she's probably still attracted to him, and that's part of her
and
issue.
that's where the frisking always comes in here. One of the lines that this was during this stakeout scene where we've got Charles and Rosa and Amy and Jake in a stakeout van, and they're talking about kissing, and Charles proceeds to tell a story about a school play that he was in where him and his co-star, he was playing Daddy Warbucks and his co-star was Annie, and they began getting hugging. Amorous through.
That's how it starts. That's what he was trying to teach the lesson to Jake and Amy, that if you start hugging, it's going to lead to more.
Yes. So he basically proceeds to say that by the time the performance was on, these two were making out all the time, and it wasn't looked upon well by the audience. And Charles goes, the playwright sued the school.
And that's just classic Charles, because he's always got a stupid story, and he's so weird. He's a connoisseur of like foods, and he writes blogs, and he's just he always knows everything about everything like that. But nobody cares. He's kind of like a Cliff Clavin in that way. Just a fountain of stupid knowledge, and nobody cares about any of it.
Yeah.
But also very awkward things.
So one of the other side things here is it's Rosa's birthday.
Yes.
And Charles tries to convince her that they need to go, they should go out for a drink or whatever. And Charles can never keep a secret from anybody. And Rosa catches on that, this is going to be a surprise birthday party. Of course, she doesn't like parties. She doesn't like surprises. People. She hates everything all the time. So she's not real happy with Charles at this point. And when they're at this stakeout at this very nice restaurant, of course, Charles knows that they serve a very excellent bone marrow pudding or something. So Rosa gets mad at him and says, if you don't be careful, you're going to be drinking that bone marrow pudding through a straw. And Charles goes, well, that's the way you eat a bone marrow pudding. He's such an idiot.
So, but in the end, he takes her to a bar that her boyfriend has rented out, and it's just the two of them.
Right.
And so she realizes that, Charles does get her and really cares. And so that's a nice little touching end of that story.
Where he calls her Roro.
It's called Johnny and Dora because those are the names they give each other, Jake and Amy. She calls him Johnny. And then, so Amy is Latino. Right. And he calls her Dora to the people that they're trying to trick. And after they kiss, the guy comes up and that they're trying to hide their cover from. And he talks to him and they said, oh, we were just looking for a place to, and she goes, boink.
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 Which, of course, the straight-laced Amy, that's probably the one word she does know for, a euphemism for having sex. Later on, when they're staking out this package that has been dropped off, they're standing in the park, and the suspect comes up and is kind of eyeing them and hasn't touched the package yet, so they start making out again, and the guy picks up the backpack to run away, and Amy goes, NYPD, freeze! We have police colleagues! And Jake yells, this is a work event! Because, of course, they don't want to, really say to each other that they are enjoying the kissing.
And so they, of course, accomplish their task, too. And so everything's ending happily. But then at the end, Madeline comes in, and even though Holt found this incriminating letter, she says if he sends that off, she's going to break everybody up in the 9-9 and send them all to places that they're going to hate, including Jake to Staten Island, where he's going to learn to break up tanning salon fights.
Salon fights.
So we get to realize how much Holt does care because he agrees to leave and take this promotion to PR because he does not want to break up the crew because he knows that'll kill them. And so it's the season finale and it ends with him saying goodbye and everybody's freaked out and upset. And then their new captain walks in, but we don't see who it is. And that's the end of the season.
Well, and this, when Holt is saying his goodbyes, he actually starts breaking. You can see him get emotional, and it's like,
well, it's funny because Jake refers to him as a robot and says, but then he says, wait a minute, we haven't seen this before, and he's almost crying. And then to lighten the tension, he goes, meat more, like a robot, which normally he hates it when Jake does that, but this is where Holt finally, for the first time, really shows that.
Really breaks. And I just love Amy's reaction. She just yells no over and over and over again. Not quite like Michael did in The Office when Toby comes back, but she is just, so beside herself that her mentor and this person that she really looks up to. And kind of a good
comparison that she's kind of like the Dwight and he's kind of like the Michael in The Office, how he looks up to Michael and praises him all the time.
Well, and I kind of compare this show to Scrubs, in that it's very zany. I mean, Jake is so far out there.
Well, and Gina.
Yep.
And Hitchcock and Scully, a lot of zaniness.
Yep. And they do have flash backs or whatever to things, to kind of send the joke home a little harder.
You get to see Holt in an afro occasionally and things like that.
Yes, and his mustache, and which was time appropriate, as he once said. So there's a lot of that in there, just how off the wall the comedy is, and the fact that it's, both of those were single camera, so a lot of quick cuts back and forth.
It mixes the heart and the humor.
It mixes the heart in,
which is,
so good.
All right, so
good
then
show for sure.
Season 3, episode 1 is called New Captain. And we learn right away who it is, and it's Bill Hader coming in. And if you think Holt's a robot, he is even more robotic and one of the weirdest humans ever, and who has random heart attacks. Nobody knows what's going on. And then he'll just freak out and yell at everybody.
He's a spaz.
He has no concept of humans and how to interact. No. He is really a robot.
No.
So they're not getting along with him. He puts them on. His name is Seth Dozerman, and he gives everybody an iPad called a Dozer Pad, which basically has them on a countdown where they have to accomplish tasks by, or it'll yell at them. And so they hate him. But Jake and Amy are now going to decide after that second kiss, they are going to date, but they're going to set rules, of course, like you always see in these shows.
Yep.
Which, of course, the rules are going to get broken immediately.
Immediately.
But that's the way that they try to go through it.
Yep.
So we still see Holt, but he's now working in PR in another place. And his first comment to Wunsch when she comes in, "Oh, you're here. I thought surely you'd still be crushed under that house in Munchkinland."
House in Munchkinland. Yes. And again, you have to imagine all of these lines coming from an emotionless character. You know, he doesn't show any
a guy
joy
who doesn't
in
joke
saying
around,
these lines. Right, yeah, but he's constantly ripping on her. But yeah, there's no emotion behind any of it. It's just great.
So one of the rules Jake and Amy has when they go on their first date is that they're not going to have sex, which it's her rule. And he's like, "Oh, cool.
No doubt.
But
Yeah.
they have an awkward date, and so they decide to get drunk. And of course, they go have sex right away. One of the funny lines here when they're having the awkward discussion before that is she mentioned something about his haircut, and he goes, "And you got a haircut," and she didn't. Like, but you got a haircut once. Obviously, that's not your baby hair.
Your baby hair. Yeah, and then of course we have, after they go on their date, it's completely awkward, and they what's your way to get out of an awkward situation is to drink a bunch, and then of course they flash right to them in bed, and Amy says,
"Here it is.
Yeah, I hope this wasn't a mistake." And of course, Jake goes right into.
So he says, "Title of your sex tape," but then he pauses and goes, "Oh, title of our sex tape."
Yes, there we go.
So, and I just think that is an amazing running joke. It's just like That's What She Said, but you hear that so much that it's still funny. I love that joke.
It's
but this is joke, it's a unique kind of spin on the idea. And like I said, you start thinking about it, it works in so many cases, and it's such a great line. So try to work that in your next conversation to somebody. Title of your sex tape.
Yes, your homework for the week is to
and then come back and let us know how it went.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one of the other rules is they're not going to let anybody know about them dating, but they have to break that because they were kissing in the records room. Yep. And Bill Hader comes in and he finds out what they're doing, and he has a real heart attack and he dies.
He dies. Yes.
And so when everybody's trying to figure out why he died and they realize there were surveillance cameras, they have to let everybody know what they were doing and what happened. And Charles asked him if they Frenched.
Yes.
Which is funny because it's funny by itself, because who says that? But then it comes back again later, too.
With Hader. Are you guys Frenching?
Are you Frenching? All right. Well, back in the PR, Holt is trying his job that he's been given is they've got a pigeon mascot for the force.
Yes.
And they've been working to name it for about 9 months.
Paulie,
and they're down
Petey,
to
right?
Petey and Paulie.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want anything to do with it. It's ridiculous. And finally, Wunsch makes him name it, and he says Paulie. But later, the line is even better when he's mad at her. He goes, "I knew instantly it was a Pepper O'Pigeon."
Pepper O'Pigeon, yes.
But he had to go with Paulie because that was the option they had at the time. She has a good line to him because before that, she comes into his new office and she says, "I love what you did with your office, Raymond. It's cozy. Kind of like a shoebox one buries a mouse in."
Well, and we also see, Gina has gone with him because she's still his personal assistant.
Yeah, she did the whole thing like in Jerry Maguire where when he leaves, she's like, "Stop, I'm coming with you."
And then Scully tries to do it too. He's like, no,
we don't need you.
You're right. But they're in a meeting with the rest of the PR staff, and she describes herself as the human form of the 100 emoji.
Yes, I wrote that one down.
Which is a very good description for her because
that is a great line.
Many episodes before that has started talking in emoji because the English language cannot relay her properly, so she has to start talking in emoji language.
And so when they do out themselves, Jake and Amy, everybody is excited. Even like Rosa's excited about it, except for Terry. Terry's the one who's not into it because he's their superior still, and he doesn't like the way it's headed.
You can't have workplace shenanigans going on.
And they feel like there's all these bad signs, and so eventually they do decide that they're going to go back and just be colleagues. And so they have to tell Boyle, but then Boyle does his best to convince him that they're wrong. And it turns out, of course, that at the very end of the episode, they come back again and they admit their true feelings and they are going to try to date now. And of course, everybody knows about it. So it's a little different situation.
Yeah. So now we're on to a new chapter with at least these two. With all the will they, won't they.
They waited till season 3. That's pretty good.
Yep. And now we're in the beginning of the will they.
And so Bill Hader dies.
Yep.
And so we have another new captain comes in, and it's the Allstate guy, Mayhem, who they've already met and they all hate with a passion. And he is truly a dick. I just love he comes in. What's up, ding dongs?
Something about smelling my farts. And, I mean, he's just, so the reason he's called the Vulture is because earlier in the
yes, his nickname is the
series
Vulture.
Is he was part of the major crimes unit. So if a case doesn't get closed fast enough, like a murder, major crimes will swoop in and take the case from him. The problem is he has a reputation for coming in as they are about to solve the case, and he is, swoops in and takes all the credit. So there's so many good scenes, like they're chasing a guy up the stairs of this apartment, and he comes up to a landing, the elevator opens, and the Vulture grabs the guy and pulls him into the elevator and goes, okay, well, I'll take him from here. I mean, there's so many scenes like that are just wonderful with him. And he, again, like you say, he comes in just brash as can be and, calls everybody idiots, and now he's going to be the new captain. So good way to end the episode on it started with a cliffhanger with the new captain, and
it sets up, you got the relationship, but also now what's going to happen with Holt. So it sets up the whole season here very well. And what you want to watch for after that.
I got a couple other lines here early on when we meet Bill Hader, and he's laying out all of his, who he is. And his motto is efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. And Jake goes, you could have said it once.
Yes, that would make sense.
Be more efficient. So
that's a good one.
Great line there. Did you have any others?
No, that was it for me on that one.
I got one more. So Brad mentioned the iPads that Dozerman gives everybody, where they have to complete a task every 55 minutes or it starts yelling at you. At one point, Dozerman walks up to Jake and says, someone named Scully has been in the bathroom for 72 minutes. And Jake goes, yeah, that means he's about halfway.
Halfway there.
Oh my God. There's so many. I mean, like another episode early on, there was a thing between like the fire department and the police department. They're always, butting heads. And these guys from the fire department stopped by with a file on an arson and handed it to Jake. And the only thing in the file was a smashed donut. And Scully walks up to Jake and says,
I just watched that one tonight.
I'll file that for you. And Jake goes, if you want the donut, just ask for the donut.
Can I have the donut? I just watched that one before we got on here.
Well, and in that episode, you've got who's the fire chief?
Pat Oswalt is. So there's another guy that we didn't mention yet, but he's in there.
He's in there, yeah. Just absolutely great. So there's just so much good stuff in there that you got to
So I had been looking for, I love to have a show that I'm rewatching, and I had started Scrubs, and I'm into the second season, and I love Scrubs. But now that I've started this, I'm going to have to put that on hold because I'm going to be watching this first. I'm so into it right now, and so I'm so glad we picked it. It was so fun, and now I get to relive it all again, and so that was great. And then I'll go back to Scrubs later.
Well, and I started, like I said, rewatching Schitt's Creek after the passing of Catherine O'Hara, but now I've moved on from that to this. So, we'll see how many more episodes and seasons I get into with this one, because it's worth the watch. It's very funny, very good writing, and the cast is phenomenal.
And kind of like I said, I feel like it's kind of the last of its kind. One of the last great true network sitcoms that really went on and lasted for that long.
Yeah, and I think network sitcom is where you have to put that, right? Like, I mean,
and most they don't have that many episodes. The other ones,
22 to 23 episodes a season.
To put these out, it's a lot of work. You got to keep up with it, and to remain funny, that's impressive. So
it is.
All right. Well, I think we have a draft tonight that I hope people stick around for and listen to. I am excited for this draft. So I don't remember what season it was when I finally came to the conclusion that Raymond Holt was one of the greatest characters I've ever seen on a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing we're going to talk about this, I suggested to Gifford that we should draft, because we've done a lot of sitcom things before, but we've never drafted like the best sitcom characters.
Yes.
And so that's what we're drafting. But the little special rule in place is we couldn't look anybody up. We had to do it from our own memory, from the shows we've watched. Just to make it a little more fun that way.
Right.
And see who we might forget along the way.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about this because I'm going to miss I'm going to miss a major show, which means I'm going to miss a major character. Major show. Yes, exactly.
Major character.
I did not miss that show, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was fun, and just rattling off these characters. You just sit there and you think,
yeah, it's going to be fun.
I've only got 5, and then all of a sudden it just starts flowing and all these great characters.
So we both wanted the first picks. We played rock, paper, scissors, and Giff won. So he gets the first pick, and I'm pretty sure we both had the same number 1, but I guess we'll find out right now if he went a different direction.
All right. So with the number 1 overall pick, I'm going with a guy who every toast is here's to feeling good all the time.
Yes.
And I'm going with Cosmo Kramer. I have a poster of him here in my basement that is framed. It is the picture of the painting from the show. So I love Kramer. I think he's just the best. So I have to go with him.
Yes, he was my number 1. And so you didn't think maybe I would have him at number 1?
I wasn't sure if you would take him with your number 1 overall pick.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's Seinfeld. It's the show of our life.
I know. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So who is our number 2?
Okay. So, I was hoping that I'd get number 1 and get Kramer, and then I wasn't sure who you'd pick. So then I thought I'd get my number 2 maybe as well. And I was going to take this draft.
Okay.
But my number 2 is, in my opinion, there's no debate about this character being the next best of all time. Even if you didn't watch the show, you got to know who he is. And hopefully enough people watch the show to realize how amazing. It's Ron Swanson. Ron Swanson is my number 2.
Yep.
I can't think of his name now. What's the name of the guy that plays him? Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. Who makes an appearance in every single one of these shows that we talked about tonight at the end with the Fremulon.
Oh, that's him? I didn't even know that.
Oh, you didn't know that's Nick Offerman?
No.
Yeah, Ron Swanson is way up there.
You couldn't have a better character. The things that guy did, and again, the dry humor, but then you get to see all these different parts, and then he's playing against his real life wife, Megan Mullally, and you get to see the crazy side come out and the ridiculousness. And Ron Swanson is an icon, and he's perfect.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Would you have picked him second?
I wrote down this name second, but Ron was in my top 3.
So I could have maybe got them both like I had hoped. But
you maybe could have got.
So who is your second?
If you would have got the number 1 pick, you would have got Kramer and Ron. Mine is a character that I don't know if we could put on a sitcom anymore today. I love him. Many people know him as the Barnacle. I'm going with Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother.
The Barnacle.
The playbook. Just his total outlook on life. And yeah, I just love everything that he did on that show. So
I had him number 5. I considered my top 5 to be like can't miss, but I didn't know how high you'd have him, but it makes sense because you love that show as much as me, and he is amazing. And just the whole thing. I mean, just everything about it. The fact that he's gay in real life playing this character, it's just amazing. Barney Stinson.
He's amazing.
All right. Well, I am going to go back in time to a show that, I wouldn't have watched all the episodes, but it was on as we were growing up. And if I'm looking for the most iconic sitcom character, I think we've got to bring this guy up. The Fonz.
I thought of the Fonz and I forgot to write him down. Oh my God. That's
all right. I think I might have a chance now. I got Ron and the Fonz.
That's pretty solid. I can't believe I forgot to write him down. All right. Whew, which way do you go? God, there's 3 I really, really want. I don't know if I'm going to get them all. I'm going to go with, again, This is how awful my mind is getting. I couldn't remember his last name, and he's one of the biggest names in sitcom history in recent years, and that's Michael from The Office. We talked about
Oh,
him
okay.
tonight. When he left, um, it just went downhill. He was the heart and soul of that show. And again, great combination of the absolute zaniness of a character, but also a character that loves all of those people in that office. He does feel like a father to them and truly loves all those people.
And now you're probably back on top here again. Now, here's one. I forgot about The Office. I didn't have anybody from The Office on my list because obviously I would have had Michael Scott down, and he totally slipped
Scott,
my mind.
Jesus. I couldn't think of Scott. Well,
Okay,
and
I'll
right
take him then
away
because I got the whole name. I get him.
I thought Jim and I thought Dwight.
Yeah, because you could have Dwight, of course, for sure.
But Michael was, he was
he's the best
so
pick.
key to that show, and I loved him so much. So, yeah, going with that.
Huh, I can't believe I forgot that. Well, I'm going to go with trying to figure out where to go here. All right, I don't want to, since I didn't get Kramer, I didn't really want to write down multiple people from the same show, but there's a couple that I did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Costanza with my pick.
If you're going to take, there's two people taken from that show. Costanza, because I asked Courtney, I said, this is our draft. What do you think my number one pick is? And she goes, Costanza. And I'm like,
Costanza.
well, yeah, I love Costanza, but I got to go Kramer. That's a phenomenal pick. I didn't write him down because I was hoping I'd get the number one pick.
Yeah, well, I have him pretty far down my list because I was not going to pick from the same show. But since I didn't get Kramer, I guess I can take him. So,
all right, I am going to take. Well, you may have the coolest guy ever on television.
Yes,
with the Fonz. But I'm going to take
you have the guy who thinks he's the coolest guy ever in Barney.
That's true. I'm going to take a guy who also thinks he's the coolest guy, and he may be one of the coolest guys in television history. I'm going Sam Malone.
God, that was who I was going to pick, actually, with my third pick.
Oh, really?
And then I decided I would maybe get more votes with Costanza.
Courtney and I
didn't know if you'd have him that high, because he was next on my thought there.
We've kind of said that we named our firstborn after Sam Malone.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, we love the name Sam, but
kind of like me and Chris Isaac.
Right. Yep.
Wasn't really named after him, but.
And Isla Fisher.
Yeah, Isla Fisher.
So I think there's so many great characters. Again,
we've when talked I was thinking about of this, Cheers, I'm like, the only one I wrote down was Sam. I'm like, there's so many good ones, but like he's the one. If you got to pick him.
Well, and we talked about this when we talked Cheers. I don't know if I could pick between Coach and Woody, and
Cliff and Norm.
I love Norm so much.
You got Carla.
Yeah,
Carla. You got I mean, and if you like the show Frasier, I mean, Frasier was on two. I mean, you could definitely pick him, I guess, too.
Yep, but I think Sam's the man.
He's the glue.
Just so cool. He's just he's awesome. So I'm going that route with my third pick.
All right, good pick.
Or fourth pick.
God, I got so many here. It's tough to pick. I am going to go back to that same. So I got people from that same Thursday night here, like all the shows, and I'm going to take Alex P. Keaton.
Nice pick. Yep.
I mean, we got Michael J. Fox, icon of the 80s, amazing character. I'm going to go with him.
All right, I'm going to leave so many great ones on the
But we get to pick
here.
A third list, so.
We do. Yep. But this guy I absolutely fell in love with in recent years on one of the great sitcoms that I just started rewatching again. I'm going with David Rose from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, yeah.
I loved everything about that character and how
that's another one
snooty he is.
I didn't know which character to pick because all four of them are amazing.
Oh, right. Moira? I mean, to me, it's David and Moira, but
at the end of the series, the character I liked the best actually would have picked Alexis because of the change, like just the arc that she went through, I just thought was amazing. So,
yeah, that was the beauty of that show, was seeing how much they came back to earth, because they were so in their own little universe there, and they found some more humanity, I guess.
All right. For my last pick, I'm going to go with a big one here. I wanted to take Captain Holt, but I'm actually going to go with a bigger name because I want to pick ones that like everybody's going to recognize here.
Mm-hmm.
I got to take Homer Simpson.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, he could have been the number one overall pick, really. We talk about
Mm-hmm.
Kramer. I could have had Homer up that high.
Yep. Yeah. No arguing that. That's a great steal at number 5.
Yeah. 2 great lists. All right, let's make a third one. You get the extra pick. Who's going to start this off for
Ooh.
the
Gal.
rando?
I think I'm gonna go with John Dorian, JD from
Oh, JD.
Scrubs. That guy, like, Turk is obviously the cooler of the two. JD's the dork, and so I relate more to JD.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, they're both great. I feel like that show though, I'd probably have to put what's his name? John C. McGinley. What's his name?
Cox,
Cox. I
Harry.
feel like to me it feels like he might be the one that stands out the most. But they're
Okay.
all great.
Yeah, a lot of great ones.
All right. Well, in honor of Pete, who we don't really draft for Pete anymore because that's, it's been a
Yep.
long time. But I'm going to pick a guy from one of his favorite shows that we have talked about here. We talked about the whole Thursday night lineup. And this is another. I wanted this guy on my list, but I only had 5 slots. I'm picking Dan Fielding from Night Court
Oh.
because John Larroquette, Dan Fielding,
Mm-hmm.
if you've forgotten about how great that character is, he fits in here with all these people. He was amazing.
Yeah.
Another show filled with a great cast of characters, but he was like the big one that stood
Mm-hmm.
out.
Well, and again, we get back to great cast of characters, but I think you and I have discussed this, and he is our favorite on this particular show. I'm going with Ross Geller. Might not be a popular pick, but again, I'm going with my heart on this.
It's popular with me because I didn't write any friends down either because I was thinking, well, who? But then I forgot. Like, I love Ross. Ross is the best character, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
In our opinion,
Right.
So I should have had him on my list. So that's a great. I'm glad you brought him up.
Well, I thought of the sitcoms, and then I tried to, and I was thinking, God, it's such a solid cast the whole way through, but that's my guy. That's my cast member on that show. So
Yeah, because the stuff he changed and went through, he was the best character. People that hate Ross, I don't get it. They couldn't move on from the first season or two.
Yeah, they don't love themselves, I think, is the problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, with my last pick here, the 4th pick for this draft, I am going to include Captain Holt because he needs to be on one of these lists. And so that's where he's going to slide in.
Excellent. Again, another great ensemble cast, but this is the guy that I always went to, and that is Phil Dunphy.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of a Modern Family either.
Modern
See, yeah, you
Family.
forget stuff.
Right?
Yeah, at first, I think, a lot of people would have said Cam, and maybe they still would, but I kind of got tired of Cam. I actually ended up liking Mitch more than Cam most of the time later on in the show. But Phil was the best character.
I would go Gloria after
Well, yeah,
Phil.
she's another. Well, actually, no, I think what's his name? What's the old guy? Ed O'Neill. What's his name?
Ed O'Neill.
He might but what's his name on the show?
Oh, Jay
Dunphy.
Jay.
I think I would probably put him number 1 if I had to pick one character out of there. I think he's awesome.
Well, and like you mentioned, you're trying not to pick multiple from a particular show. I think Ed O'Neill. I'm going Al Bundy.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to put. I didn't have him on my list either. We got to put him on there.
Yep, I got Al Bundy as one of my honorable mentions here.
Let's just go back and forth, and we're not drafting anymore. But let's just one at a time so we can see who we got down here. So you got Al Bundy.
Yep.
I'll throw in. I used all them. So Theo Huxtable is my next one. So I had one from all 4 of the Thursday night shows, and
nice.
I mean, Cliff, come on, but he's Bill Cosby. It's problematic. So, but Theo, I just love Theo. Theo's great.
Yeah. Lesser known show, but we did cover it on our podcast, Life in Pieces.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of his last name, Tim.
Oh,
because
Tim.
It's not
the big
short.
Guy.
It's not short because
his daughter, his wife is the short.
so I don't know what his last name is, and I couldn't look it up, of course. But
Kind of, is he redheaded? But Tim
he's
is
balding. He's the doctor and married to the daughter.
Under the radar show Life in Pieces. We have an episode on it. It's amazing. A lot of great characters, but he probably would be the number one you'd start with.
And Tim's my guy. He's the Phil Dunphy of the show. Mm-hmm. He's awesome. But a lot of great characters.
My next one, I'm going animated again. Eric Cartman. I think.
Oh, I didn't have Cartman.
Yeah, he could have been on any list. He could be one of the top ones.
Yep. Mm-hmm. How about Selena Meyer from Veep? If I can't have Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Elaine,
well, you could have Elaine too,
right? But I had Kramer, so I'm gonna slip her in the.
That's a good one,
Meyer.
And I was thinking, I was gonna write. Why is Elaine never discussed as great a character as George and Kramer? I mean, Elaine is an amazing character, and
she is,
but she never gets mentioned like near those other two, which I think is not quite right because that show does not work without her.
Courtney will tell you why, because we're misogynistic and we only talk about
not us. We love her, but the world
right,
is.
But we both had Kramer as our number one pick, and you picked Costanza, and we left Elaine on the wayside.
Yeah, but I thought about her.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going way back to the beginning of sitcoms for my next one, which maybe just think of another one. But I'm picking Ralph Cramden from The Honeymooners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
who literally threatened his wife with domestic violence as his catchphrase, but that was a different time.
Straight to the moon.
To the moon, Alice. I'm just going to throw in Lucille Ball then too, Lucy, because I don't know if you were going to say her. I'm sorry, but as I thought of him at the time, I thought of Lucille Ball and Lucy as well.
Another character, I couldn't think of his last name, but I'm taking Dick from Newhart. Bob Newhart's character.
Dick Loudon.
Loudon. Okay, Loudon.
Okay, that's a great pick. I'm going to go to that same show then, and I was going to pick a three-for-all here. Larry, Daryl, and Daryl.
Sure.
Iconic sitcom characters in one, and they go together. You would pick them all together because two don't talk.
Yes, you would. They're a package deal. I'm going to go to news radio. I'm going with Jimmy. Can't remember his last name, but the main guy.
Which one is Jimmy?
The owner of the radio station, the billionaire, played by Stephen Root.
Stephen Root. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's another show with a lot of great characters. I wouldn't have been able to name them, but there's so many great characters there too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got another animated one, kind of the Ralph Cramden of the animated world, Fred Flintstone. Did you think of the Flintstones?
I don't have any animated ones on here. I didn't even think of Homer.
I got the big ones then.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Big Bang Theory. I'm going Wallowitz.
My next one was gonna be Sheldon Cooper, which I thought would be the obvious pick.
He was so annoying. He was such a jerk, but obviously iconic for sure. But again, I'm going with the guy that I really liked. Wallowitz was the poon hound of that crew and always coming up with something stupid. And I loved how he always got ripped on for not being a doctor, only had his master's degree from MIT. So
right.
I loved Wall. And the way he dressed.
I am a fan, but that show was pretty good for a long time too. It probably gets a lot of people love it, get some hate too, but it's a funny show with some great characters. I mean, Sheldon is an icon. Everybody knows Sheldon, whether you watch it or not.
Everybody knows Sheldon for sure.
That's kind of what I was looking for here in my people. So I said Sheldon. So you got another one?
I've got Schmidt from New Girl.
Oh yeah, he was probably the pick.
Pretty crazy and always had such a wonderful delivery.
That's a show and a character that I tired of after a while and quit.
Okay,
but he was. I mean, that's a good call because he was kind of the breakout. I think of that one.
Mm-hmm.
The only one I have listed here, I'm sure I can think of more if we keep going, but I have Cliff Clavin. That was my next Cheers person. I thought if I was going to pick another Cheers, I had Cliff was my guy for the next one. Although we have Woody too. It's just so many.
How do you go? If you pick Woody, then I feel like if I pick Woody, then I'm besmirching Coach or.
But I feel like Coach unfortunately wasn't on for as long, so
yes.
Woody really was on the show like 3 times as long. So
yep. The last one that I have on my list is, again, can't think of the last name. Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Played by Charlie Day. complete moron. I mean, all those guys are morons.
I
But
watched a lot of episodes, but I can't tell you the last name on that one, and it's been a
yeah,
while.
no clue. But Charlie was, he was a live wire for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You had a few that I didn't think of. I had a few you didn't think of. We covered the oldies, the animated. We got the 80s. We got it all here, I think. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I think we did is that it for your list?
Yeah,
Your list has been exhausted?
My list I'm just double checking. It has been exhausted.
Well, and
so if you're listening, who did we miss? Please come on and tell us who we missed.
I just thought of one, and I can't think of his character's name off the top of my head, but Alec Baldwin's character in 30 Rock was
That's
phenomenal.
A good one. Or Jane Krakowski. 30 Rock has had a lot of good ones.
Yep.
Mary Tyler Moore, and I'm not sure of his name on the show, but Ted Knight. There's a couple there that you could throw in. Of course, we didn't watch that show very much. It was before us, but we still know about it. That's how good it was.
So with that, we are going to close the yearbook.
Closing it up.
On 2015. Brad, what are we doing next month?
So we are going to go back to 1984.
Oh, boy.
These are fun episodes. This is a good time, 2015, but I'm not sure it's not getting as many listens, it seems like, as our other episodes. So hopefully our audience is still there and will be happy for us to go back to the 80s again.
Dig into the nostalgia a little bit more for the majority of our folks.
And when we go back to 84 next week, we will have our friend Deaf Dave back on to help draft because he is starting. It has started now when this comes out, and we will have advertised it last week as well. He is starting his own podcast solely on the year of 1984. So he's going to come draft with us. And as of us putting this out, his show is out there. You can go find it. It's Deaf Dave's 1984. And our new Patreon exists as well. So we have been promoting it out there. Hopefully you will consider it. It's going to be fun. We have some things already on there. And we would just love it to pieces if you decided to support our show and become part of our Patreon community.
Please do. Yeah. Yeah. And as always, reach out, tell us what we missed, tell us what you liked. We love the interaction on the socials. So reach out and we'll get back to you on that stuff too. Hey, Brad.
Hey, what?
Which band has hundreds of titles to their hundreds of sex tapes?
Preacher Row.
That is absolutely correct. Filthy, filthy bastards, those guys.
Yeah. All right. The yearbook is closed. We will see you next week.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Bye.